Hey y'all, welcome. I have an update. Come on in. I'm waiting for a few people to join. Come on in, guys. Come on in. I have an update. Now, as you guys know, this carjacking out of Seminole County, Florida, I have been following it from the initial reports of what happened to this young 31-year-old woman by the name of Catherine. Now, hold on, let me see how this music is going. Okay, this will work for me. I just want a little music playing in the background as I speak. Once I begin the video, I'm going to pause that, but I have been following this case since it hit the news. A young lady, Catherine, left her home in Homestead, Florida, traveled out to Seminole County, Florida, which is about 4 hours away from her home. And initially, she called her husband to advise him that someone was hitting the back of her car. So somebody was ramming the back of her car. He informed his wife, he said, listen, honey, just don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't you stop. At any rate, she caught a red light. At that red light, the car that was ramming her from behind, someone jumped out of it, pulled out a pum, held it to the window, and I'm assuming, and so are the police, that he instructed her to unlock the doors, which is exactly what she did. A few hours after this, Good Samaritan recorded the incident and called the police and shared the video with the police. Thank God that they were able to get this video evidence. But a few hours later, they located her car ablaze with her in it. She had been shot. They haven't really said how many times, but she had been shot and burned. So rest in paradise to that beautiful, vibrant young woman, a mom, a mother, a business owner. You know, I just feel really bad that she lost her life this way. But the police reports how they're saying basically that they believe that this incident was a targeted attack on this woman. Basically, they're saying that they targeted her, watched her, and was laser focused in on hitting their target. So this was allegedly, this was not a mistake. Okay, so let's get into the update, guys. Please be sure to smash that like button. I would definitely like this video to end up in the suggested videos on YouTube, simply because this is a case that I want to attend in person. And also, I want to create some awareness to this case as well. Okay, this happened in broad daylight. The details on why she was where she was are still a little shady, but I think the police are piecing it all together. Here we go. Let me make sure. Here we go. Damn.
Good afternoon. So we're going to brief on two issues, two separate news conferences, one not related to the other. First, we'll start with a date briefing on the kidnapping, carjacking, murder of Catherine Vivas. I will introduce formally two additional people that are involved in this investigation, and then I'll talk a little bit more about Jordan, who's been identified in the past by me at these news conferences as a strong person of interest. We're changing that and ultimately going to be charging him, but I'll get into those details in just one moment. The first person we'll introduce you to in this case is Kevin Justiano. He goes by the street name Kivo. Kivo came to our attention in the early stages of this investigation after we saw a red Toyota Corolla at the same apartment complex where our green Acura was dropped off. This is the apartment complex where that green Acura was towed away. We saw a red Toyota Corolla, and we used video surveillance at that location to get unique identifiers, the license plate of this car, and then ultimately came back to a relative of Kivo's. Kivo has been on our radar ever since that moment. Graph is a photograph of him being arrested yesterday by the U.S. Marshals in Puerto Rico. Unrelated to this case, but the charges, the federal charge that he's being arrested for is possession of a weapon and drug trafficking. Again, not related to this. He is in custody in Puerto Rico, and he will be extradited back to Central Florida to face charges in the Middle District of Florida for this, in addition to this investigation coming on. Again, red Toyota Corolla that was seen at the location, registered to a relative of his. The red Toyota Corolla was seen picking up the occupants of the green after to be the occupants cleaning that Acura up, wiping it down, doing other things. One of the images here, you can see clearly the Toyota Corolla. We believe that it was Kivo driving that Toyota Corolla, picking up the occupants of the green Acura at that time. In addition to that, I said we were still waiting for records to come in, and we're still waiting for a majority of the records that we have subpoenaed to come in. One of the records that have now come in puts Kivo at the scene with Jordan of the kidnapping. So it is likely, more likely than not, and I believe it's Kivo driving the green Acura and Jordan holding the gun at the window, committing the kidnapping, and we'll get in more to that as we go on. Next person is Giovanni Hernandez. After we conducted a search for his home, because this case is complicated and there's a lot of moving parts, Giovanni was first introduced because last person.
Guys, this is absolutely a web. And this is what intrigues me about this case. First of all, the carjacking and kidnapping came off as extremely professional. The husband did not call 911 when his wife reported that she was being bumped. Additionally, he waited 2 hours after that. He didn't hear from his wife, and he did not call the authorities. So there's so many layers to this. Please listen carefully so that you guys can follow along. This is indeed a case that I plan to attend in person. All right.
that our decedent, Catherine, spoke to. We were able to identify that in two ways. One, we received a screenshot that was sent by the victim's brother. The victim's brother's name is Lewis. He sent us a screenshot of Giovanni's photograph and said, this is the last person that she spoke to. We were able to run that photograph through a program run out of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office called FACES. It's a facial recognition program. It's back 90% likely that it was Giovanni with a Castleberry address. We believe our victim was on her way to meet Giovanni in Castleberry because the route that she was traveling from Homestead is a GPS route that's routed in and around the location where he was at. As a reminder, first we got a report from her husband, Miguel, said that she was up coming to Central Florida to visit family members. Additionally, we said that there was no family members that we could locate here. We later identified 2 family members that are in and around the area, but they were not expecting her to come up. Lewis, the brother, then to detectives said she's on her way to County or the Central Florida area to deliver money and other stuff to a friend. We think that friend is Giovanni. So Giovanni was there. He was wanted out of Seminole County because we conducted a search warrant of his home. The search warrant, what appears to be a lot of property, stolen property, as well as fentanyl and other drugs and a gun. So he is now being in Seminole County on trafficking and possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. That's his local charges here. Jordan again, Jordanish. So the last time we talked about Jordan, we said he was again in custody and charges being held at Puerto Rico. We later photographed. I identified him as a person of interest. He had a connection to the green Acura. We found a Facebook profile that had a number to an Orange County 19 with his phone number. We know that he purchased the Acura. He was then seen in his program what appears to be the same clothes as committing the crime of kidnapping. And now we've been able to put through evidence, through records, that his cell phone was at that location. So he now is going to be charged. Kivo is going to be charged federally with carjacking resulting in death. I've recently had a conversation with the U.S. Attorney for the Middle District, Roger Hamburg. They will be assuming a lot of these cases and the follow-up investigation with our assistance. Because I think we can see evidence that our victim, Catherine, was killed in Osceola County. That's where the shell casings were at. That's where the car was set on fire. We know that she was the victim of the carjacking here in Seminole County, and then they traveled through Orange County on the journey down there. But that part of the investigation is again ongoing. Again, Jordan Kivo charged with federal charge of carjacking resulting in death, and these are some of the updates that we have now in the investigation.
Sheriff, real quick, not to interrupt, I think misidentified. You called Jordan Kivo. They're not the same.
Yep. Well, yep. You're right. So Jordan is Jordanish, and if I said that, I'm getting myself confused on some of these things. So let me go Kivo. Yep. Let me go Kivo. Is again. Kivo is Kevin Justiano. Kivo was the one that was arrested yesterday in Puerto Rico on the federal charges of possession of an automatic weapon and drugs not related to this particular. He was one of the new charges. Those are federal charges. He will be extradited back here, uh, Middle District of Florida, federally. He was introduced to us, the Corolla that picked up the two occupants of the green Acura, moved into that vehicle. That vehicle was registered to a relative of his, and then his phone records put him at the scene of the carjacking, along with Jordan. Did I clear?
Jordan's charges, to be clear, are
Jordan will be also charged federally with carjacking and then ultimately resulting in a murder, homicide, or death. So again, I'll let the U.S. Attorney's Office will be at this again tomorrow to determine the most appropriate charges. And there's a lot of evidence that really hasn't even come back on this yet, and still relatively early stages of this. But a lot of good police work, taking an incredibly complicated and confusing situation with a lot of moving parts and putting it into play. Not that we're aware of. So we think that the driver, likely driver of the green Acura was Kivo, right? There could have been more people in that car. You clearly cannot see how many people are in that car. We know that car holding on.
Okay, guys. So they're making some serious headway in this case. And I am excited because someone will be brought to justice for the tragic slaying of this 31-year-old woman, originally from the Dominican Republic. She's a married woman with two businesses, a barbershop and a hair salon in the Homestead, Florida area. So definitely stay tuned and I'll keep you guys posted. I just wanted to interject because I'm really, really happy because this one, I didn't think they were going to catch the people. I really didn't.
And committing the carjacking was Jordan. And again, as investigation continues to evolve and we get records back, there may be others in that car. We just simply don't know. But we now have records that put the two at that location at the time, and they will face the federal charges that, again, carjacking resulting in death is the charges that they will face federally for that particular situation. Well, listen, this whole thing, I suspect from the beginning, everyone who's watched this has known it's about drugs and money, right? I mean, you look at the history, the background, and again, we'll find out more specific details as this investigation goes. But clearly, there's a drug and money nexus here, right? That's probably enough motive for people that are engaged in this type of behavior to kind of stay in business.
so for our purposes. Can we refer to Giovanni and Kivo all as suspects at this point?
Well, I'll say it like before: we think that they did it. We're going to charge them. We don't charge people unless we think that they did it. So, suspect, we're alleging that they're the ones responsible. We would not put charges on them if we did not believe that was the case. So. Correct. I'm not going to speak specifically to the level of involvement because that will continue to evolve, come out. But he is not being charged with the kidnapping. We are only charging the two people that were out there. We think that Giovanni's connection was the last person that our victims were to. We think that she was probably on her way to Giovanni's home. But the act of the carjacking, the two that were there is what we're saying, Kivo and Jordan, not Giovanni.
And as far as her traveling to Giovanni, Catherine or Giovanni, are we with what in the car and for what purpose?
It's a level of speculation. We don't know that for sure. I don't know that I mean, it's difficult. I mean, she's no longer alive. She can't attest to it. I think when we see that the last person she spoke to, that the brother said she was delivering money and other stuff to a friend, the path that she was traveling was a path towards their residence. I think that you can only assume that that's probably where, but that's my hunch, right? We don't know that for sure right now.
Is there anything?
I want to come to the timeline. You say that the Acura Green was getting to the truck on March 19, and after that was released. How this car was released if it wasn't even registered? Someone paid to get it out? How that worked for that Acura?
You talking about the first time it was towed from an Orange County?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know the circumstances. That that part of the investigation is in the Orange County Sheriff's Office lane, and although there is a nexus and connection here, they're the most informed authority to speak on that. I don't know the circumstances of when the vehicle was released. Sometimes when vehicles are towed for whatever reason through a tow contract of an apartment complex, they're looking for somebody to come in and get it out. And when somebody presents themselves with money, pays it out, they typically release it. And what these folks typically were doing is sending somebody that may or may not be directly connected to offer whatever cost and fee it is to get the car out. But I don't know the answer to that question.
Your more about the time it took for the victim to get to Osceola County, obviously, and then that's where you found that car, the burned car. What happened in that time frame? Any more about that timeline?
So between the kidnapping and arriving in Orange County is a pretty tight timeline. It's about an hour and 45 minutes or so. And with rush hour traffic, it's not that unrealistic to have it take potentially maybe even an hour or so. But we think the route was direct. Some evidence and records are coming back to kind of prove that. Some of those records have come in. We know that the route that we said, traveling, making the U-turn, getting up to Tuscaloosa Road, traveling south on Tuscaloosa Road, getting on 417 by traffic, getting on 417 southbound has been confirmed by records. Likely getting off at Narcoossee Road, traveling down to Boggy Creek. How long they were at the location, we don't know at the time because that location was off. So it may, in all intents and purposes, been a dare, and then any time delay between the report of guns fired and the flames or smoke from the vehicle was just the time that they were there. So again, that will come further in the investigation when we get information. Look over here. I'm not going anywhere, so we got plenty of time. So.
As far as your investigation has revealed, anything in Catherine's background or her husband's background that shows any history of drug dealing or any involvement in anything like this?
So not that we have access to right now. I will reshape the husband and brother's involvement. I said that they were cooperating at first. Husband is no longer cooperating with us, and the brother has been crossed up and mobilized with our detectives. So to shape that they're cooperating would not be accurate. So they are no longer cooperating. The husband is not cooperating at all, and the brother feels like he's cooperating, but he's telling us lies. So again, that will be a part of the investigation that's ongoing. We'll continue to look at that.
Chief, your daddy is a suspect now or in the Catherine's case?
Say it again.
Your daddy is a suspect now? Your daddy is a suspect now?
Yes. Yes. Let's call him a strong suspect. He's the guy committing the crime. And I think that when we release that photograph with somebody in Facebook wearing the exact same clothes as the person on the scene, I think that most people that saw that video said, yeah, you don't have to be the sharpest detective to know that it's likely this guy. But now with records putting him back at that location at that time, we're confident it's him. So again, at the scene of the carjacking, right? It's Kivo and Jordan. That's it.
And with Jordanish and Kevin, do we know if they're associates with Giovanni? Sorry if that was already touched on. Or associates depending on their own organization.
Look, I think all these. what we can prove will come out in evidence that is going to be, and then probably as we shift now to the federal part of this investigation, the federal authorities will be taking the lead on this. With our assistance and participation, that group is absolutely connected. And from the activities, probably not the first time that they've been involved in criminal activity and committing crimes.
Understand very well this information. So you said the brother is, you're catching the brother lying sometimes. So is a possibility that Giovanni is not the last person that show? So the FaceTime is actually Catherine on the screenshot? I just want to confirm that information.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're pretty confident that that's the last. Giovanni was the last person she had with, because the timeline is pretty tight there. So we think that he's truthful about that. But even when he sent us the initial screenshot, when we're talking about Lewis, the brother, when he sent us the screenshot, he screenshotted it and edited it to the point where his photograph was out of it and sent that to us. It was the forensic examination of his cell phone that he gave to us where we had the opportunity to look at the original image with his photograph in there. So, but lying to us, you know, we've been able to cross him up in multiple lies. He's helping initially to a certain extent, but he's telling us a whole lot of lies that we have to kind of go through. He could be a lot more cooperative.
That screenshot is Luis and Giovanni, not Catherine and Giovanni.
Correct.
And as far as other players kind of involved in this, I forgot the gentleman's name, but the Orange County deputy, is there any update as to how he kind of plays in and ties into this?
Again, nothing new on the Orange County deputy. We're continuing to work that side of it. Obviously, we want his records on his work computer, access to the database like the David system where he find those unique characteristics about our detective. We want to know what his phone records look like, communicating back and forth. So again, we have not received those records back, but nothing new with the Orange County deputy or that part of this investigation. Okay? So again, sorry for any confusion. I think I've clarified kind of where we're at this, but again, this is a lot of moving parts to this, and thank you for getting the word out there. The second part of our news conference here, and absolutely not related to what we just briefed on at all, is the conclusion of a 6-month investigation into a drug operation here in Seminole County and throughout Central Florida. Now, you've heard me talk quite a bit about all of the things that we're doing to make sure that we
Okay, guys.
down a path.
You guys can hear me. I'm muting this up. So that is the update. They do have some great suspects in custody. I will be looking up their charges and following this from the beginning all the way through to the verdict, should they take this to trial. I want to thank you guys for coming in, and Replay Gang, hey, how y'all doing? Be sure to drop me a comment, smash that like button, and share. Bush babies, come on over to the channel. I have some amazing new content coming your way very, very soon. All right, y'all.